a bit of a different report this time. Not at a car, not at any particular car anyway, and not aimed at a particular car. It's aimed at an entire generation of cars. The electric, or the electric hybrid. In 2017, Richard Hammond hosted the Grand Tour, was involved in a car accident using an all-electric supercar. The car ended up plummeting down a hill, bursting into flames. Luckily, Richard got out with minor injury considering the severity of the accident, but considering the fire as well that left the car pretty much a burnt out shell, he was really lucky to get out of this alive. So why did a car that's effectively all electric, doesn't use flammable fuel, burst into flames the way it did? The answer might actually surprise you. In 2016, there was a spate of lithium-ion phone batteries that were exploding. This was in the Galaxy Note 7, and this was down to a poor design with the connectors, which caused an internal short circuit. This sent the battery into what we call a runaway state. At that point, the battery would explode. This is a similar thing to what can happen with laptop batteries or electric car batteries. Regardless, anything with a lithium-ion battery in it, if something goes wrong with that battery, the electronics around it, the results can be very similar, as this video will show.
This is a controlled demonstration. Do not try this at home. The first lithium-ion battery cell just vented. You can also hear small pops, which are electrolytic capacitors. They're like small batteries. After a few seconds of smoke, the second cell vents violently. Then, two more cells quickly erupt. Like a small volcano, the fifth cell is projected about 10 feet from the laptop. Now the fire is burning the LCD display. This is a very dangerous fire. It is an electrical fire, a chemical fire, and worst of all, it is a metal fire. Unlike most fires, lithium fires do not need external oxygen. They have everything they need to keep burning inside the cell. So do not try to cover it with a blanket or smother it or extinguish it with water.
That fire you saw was caused by a laptop battery about this size. It's different to any other laptop battery. The shapes are different, but similar sorts of things. The cells within here were set into what was called a runaway state, and they started to explode. This particular battery has 3 separate cells. One of those cells goes faulty, it can be disastrous. Thankfully, most batteries are well designed, all batteries are well designed these days, and the likelihood of it happening is small, but it's still a possibility. And this is one of the things that happened in the electric car that Richard Hammond crashed. A battery or one of the battery cells went into a runaway state. This could have been because something in the accident caused a short circuit, or it could have been because one of the battery cells was punctured. Either way, it started a chain reaction that caused a fire which engulfed the car. This didn't take very long. What we actually had was a fireball that was caused by multiple mini explosions within the various battery cells. This isn't a problem just isolated to that one supercar. The laptop fire was caused by a battery this size, and you saw how very quickly that became something big. Let's have a look at a Toyota Prius battery.
No.
Now, this is encased in a metal case, but there are many, many cells within. It only takes one of those cells to start a reaction to actually then cause the other battery cells to overheat and explode. And depending on the design of the car, you might even be sitting on these. Tesla use a design where the batteries are actually in the floor, so you're actually sat on top of the battery systems. BMW's i8 has them in the transmission tunnel, so they're reasonably well protected. They've got their own shell around them, but even then, they can be punctured. In the event of an accident, you really need to be outside of the car as quickly as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for electric cars, but I'm not for lithium-ion technology in them. We need a better system, especially as these things are becoming more and more commonplace on the roads. We now see hybrids all over the place. We have the BMW series with the i3 and the i8 and the upcoming i5. There are several of the BMW range that are equipped with the same technologies now. We have the Volkswagen GTE, we have the Nissan Leaf, we have several electric vehicles from various different manufacturers, all with these batteries inside them, and under normal conditions they are fine. Of course, battery technology has been in cars for a long time. We need it to start our cars. These are lead-acid batteries, and they do have similar sorts of problems. They can combust under strange circumstances, but generally it's a very rare occurrence. And again, with lithium-ion batteries, under normal circumstances, it's a rare occurrence. Unless there's a serious design defect somewhere, or something causes a problem with the battery, there isn't an issue. It's those extreme circumstances which we need to watch for. Battery life is also another potential issue. Electric cars. Any phone owner will be able to tell you that over time, the battery capacity shrinks as the battery degenerates. Eventually, you have to replace the battery. And of course, if you're a Toyota Prius owner who's got one of the oldest first generation Priuses, you could very well walk into a dealership and expect a £4,000 bill. Now, there are companies that will provide you with reconditioned cells, which are all matched and all tested, and that's all fine. They're using official equipment, official cells, and everything will be fine. You can then refresh your battery and go about your business for a reasonable price.
Once the protective shell is removed, you can see the individual cells.
We're also looking at the market of third-party cells going down the line. These you might not be able to guarantee the quality of. But the thing is, without these cells, the car effectively becomes a big paperweight. Yes, you can drive the Prius with its engine alone. However, its fabled fuel consumption goes out the window, its fabled emission system goes out the window, and all that pollution used in creating the battery systems goes out the window. In effect, it becomes a polluting paperweight, pretty much like every other car that breaks down and dies. So, are we now building in obsolescence into cars with these electric batteries? Quite possibly.